Hi everyone, this is Anthony J. Graham in Management 6100 speaking on Marc Benioff. Benioff is the co-founder, chairman, and CEO of Salesforce.com, a $4 billion a year technology company with 10,000 employees worldwide. He is a pioneer in cloud computing and the software as a service model. The 51-year-old is a Forbes richest in America list, hitting number 167 with a $3.4 billion net worth. Even more impressive is that he was a millionaire by the time he was 25 years old. He has authored 3 books and 1 bestseller. He's a very controversial guerrilla marketer whose stunts have garnered worldwide fame, usually on the backs of his competitors. Yet a very serious humanitarian who's responsible for raising billions of dollars for charities across the world. He has friends that range from the likes of Deepak Chopra, Stevie Wonder, MC Hammer, Richard Branson, David Bowie, the Dalai Lama, even Zen monks in Kyoto, and General Colin Powell, who sits on his board of directors for Salesforce. Marc Russell Benioff was born on September 25th, 1964. He was born to Russell and Jolie Benioff, Jewish apparel entrepreneurs in San Francisco, California. He has 2 older sisters, Jill and Julie. Growing up, he would state that his parents were very conservative. They never purchased a new car, always he opted for used ones. Even though Dad was a retail clothing executive and entrepreneur, he was never known to dress very flashy. That's interesting because Marc's style is completely different. I mean, this guy's got a passion for $1,500 custom sneakers. Benioff claims, though, that he learned his work ethic from his father because on Saturdays he would go to the stores in the station wagon and move inventory from one clothing store to another. And he would watch his dad working till crazy hours at night at home, working on the books and different things like that. And he learned this work ethic from him. Benioff grew up in that age of the Atari, Commodore 64. By the time he was 15 years old, he had opened up his own company, Liberty Software, where he would create actually video games for the Atari. He was earning like $1,500 a month in royalties, which actually helped pay for college for him. He at Burlington High School, he was kind of known as a introvert, a little bit of a geek. He was the guy who was always helping the teachers with their computer programs. He was not voted most likely to succeed. They picked that one wrong. In his yearbook graduation photo in 1982, he had the following Albert Einstein saying, "Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds." Quite a saying. I don't know if that's an egomaniac speaking or just a 17-year-old with no friends. I'm not sure. But after high school, he went on to the University of Southern California. He studied to earn a bachelor's degree in business administration. And at 19, he actually earned an internship at Apple's Macintosh division as a programmer. This is where young Benioff had a chance to meet his first mentor. At that time, Steve Jobs. Benioff, at that point, moved on from, as he moved on from Apple, he still stayed in contact with Jobs and went on to counsel with him and get advice with him numerous times. Matter of fact, Benioff even says that without Jobs, Salesforce.com would have never been realized. After graduating USC, some of his professors saw he was a great programmer, but said he probably could use some customer-oriented experience. And so he decided to join Oracle as a sales executive and consultant. And did he do phenomenal? By the time he was 26, he was the youngest vice president at Oracle, earning over $1 million a year. And just as Steve Jobs was his mentor at Apple, young Benioff now had a new mentor, and that was multi-billionaire Larry Ellison, who's a very unique man in himself. He's the chairman and CEO of the giant technology company Oracle. Matter of fact, Benioff actually states Ellison as his chief mentor when it comes to business. Ellison urged Benioff to read and study The Art of War, which is written in the 2nd century BC by a military strategist who advises readers to ignore anger and use it for their own good. Later, actually, Ellison probably is going to wish he never did give him that book because of some of the stunts that Benioff had pulled on Oracle and Ellison. After 13 years of becoming a multi-millionaire at Oracle, Benioff decided he had an awakening. He went to India and decided it was time to go out on his own. So with Ellison's blessing and about $2 million seed money from him, on March 8, 1999, Salesforce.com began business. They set up shop in a one-bedroom apartment in San Francisco. They were working on card tables, folding chairs, but they did have a picture of Albert Einstein and the Dalai Lama on the wall, which, hey, that's interesting. Benioff really made all the right moves, and he put together a great advisory, a board of directors, and their continual growth seemed to be eminent. That was until one of the seed investors, Larry Ellison of Oracle, who gave that initial $2 million, decided to start directly competing with Salesforce.com. Caused a big rift between Benioff and Ellison. Ellison was thrown off the board of directors for Salesforce.com, and there was really some serious problems between the two of them. During this awakening period that Benioff talks about, he decided that upon starting Salesforce that they would actually create a foundation built on a 1-1-1 model. This model basically says that 1% of the company's equity, 1% of the company's assets, product, and 1% of the employees' time would be donated to a foundation, and that foundation would take that money and give it to charities throughout the world based upon specific needs. I don't know if this was developed because of his, desire and teachings from Zen Buddhism that he studied just as Steve Jobs and Larry Ellison did, or maybe it was, from the urging of Anthony Robbins, his personal life coach. But he decided to now take that torch and motivate other technology companies such as Google, Box, GoPro, Yelp to adopt this 1-1-1 model. And literally they have raised hundreds of millions of dollars for charities across the world and set up billion-dollar foundations. Benioff proudly touts that Salesforce does not advertise. Instead, for marketing, they use editorials and media to get the message out. Benioff has been known as a great master of media. He's pulled a lot of stunts and mock protests to hold no software signs at different competitors' events. He would even hire fake TV reporters, fake TV stations, and eventually the event holders, competition would get upset. They would call the police. Media would come, and there Benioff was to get a tremendous amount of free exposure. One of the funny stories was in a Siebel event in France. They were having this event in Cannes. Well, when they were flying into Cannes, all of these Siebel customers, Benioff actually instructed his team to go hire all the taxi cabs, hire them, every one of them, and they would put a 45-minute ad that would be directed to the Siebel executives and customers attending the event, talking about the greatness of Salesforce.com. Brilliant. Made a lot of people angry at Siebel. Made a lot of customers pretty impressed with the ingenuity of Benioff. There was a time that Microsoft tried to do the same thing. They created this suffering customer, Salesforce customer at a Salesforce.com event, and Microsoft was going around talking about this suffering customer. Well, the next day, Benioff goes and hires this actor who is being the suffering Sales.com customer and brings him on stage and has him recant how he doesn't, like Microsoft. He's happy with Salesforce.com, and made about 16,000 attendees pretty happy. And again, he got a lot of exposure from that because, the media watched this guy play a really good chess game with his competition. Probably the most famous turn of events was when Benioff had paid for a $1 million speaking spot at an Oracle event. And right before, 24 hours before he was supposed to speak, Ellison dumped Benioff from that spot. And most people say that's because that Benioff had been tweeting a little bit about some of the things that Ellison had been saying. Well, needless to say, that didn't let Benioff, that Ellison didn't stop Benioff. Benioff goes out, immediately hires some protesters, immediately lets everybody know, hey, the speech is still going to happen, but not at the event, just across the street at the St. Regis Hotel. And it was classic because he still got the word out. And the best part is he actually got the $1 million back that Oracle, he had paid Oracle because they didn't allow him to give the speech. And he got millions of dollars worth of free exposure. And it was a classic move by Benioff. And even though there's been conflict, eventually in 2013, Benioff and Ellison mended their fences, fixed their problems. They've got a strategic partnership going on right now. Benioff has been really vocal about what he would call basic human rights right now. When the state of Indiana passed a controversial law where businesses would be able to post, hey, no gays allowed signs in their businesses, he would immediately to the media said that he's going to pull all of his events in Indiana. He was going to allow the employees to, not have to force them to travel to Indiana. Those employees that were living in Indiana who felt like they couldn't live there anymore were going to be allowed to be transferred. This move by the largest technology company in Indiana is estimated to cost the state over $50 million annually if they don't go back in and recant and change this law. The media has covered this issue dramatically, and Salesforce.com has got a tremendous amount of exposure, again, because of that. In his personal life, Benioff lives like a rock star, has an incredible lifestyle, yet he's somewhat of a saint. I mean, he gives away hundreds of millions of dollars of personal money to charities. As a matter of fact, in 2015, Benioff paid $27 million for a 15,000 square foot home in San Francisco. He built a 9,800 square foot home in Hawaii. He throws crazy parties with headliner bands. He hobnobs with sports figures, musician talents, dignitaries, high-level executives. Yet he and his wife are very large personal donors to the University of San Francisco's Children's Hospital, which carries his name. They've given over $200 million to the $1 billion project. He spends half of his time helping other companies become more charitable through this one project. It's estimated that the initiative has created $1 billion foundation commitments. And in 2014, his alma mater, USC, awarded him with the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, where he was provided when he provided the commencement speech at USC for 2014. But interestingly enough, some people call him an egomaniac, buffoon, and call him the Ron Burgundy of tech. Basically, where every event that Salesforce has is, puts on, every charity event thrown, every media stunt is about Benioff and what an amazing, generous, heroic, world-changing figure he is, which some say kind of make him look like an asshole, or worse, Ron Burgundy. Now, I haven't met the man, nor have I met Ron Burgundy for that much, so I can't really judge. But based upon my research, I can kind of see where this image has been created. Benioff also has been known to invest or not invest in a company based on simply because of the fact he liked the person. Matter of fact, he admits that he's lost a lot of money by not investing in companies that he didn't like the person. When asked about business advice he gives these entrepreneurs, he states the following. He says, start with clarity of your vision, something Buddhists would have called specificity of your intention. Next, define your values associated with your vision. That's really important. Finally, execute on it. Benioff says that this has guided him to the growth at Salesforce.com. Hope you've enjoyed the information provided about Benioff and Salesforce. Thanks. It's been a great semester.